Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today is my 500th video, so today I'm going to show you how to make the best homemade pizza. I'm even going to show you 10 of the best tips for making the best homemade pizza. So let's get started. So here's all the ingredients that you're going to need. You're going to need some bread flour, warm water, olive oil, instant dry yeast, or you can use the active dry yeast, salt, and sugar. And then you're also going to need some additional flour for dusting. So the first thing you need to do is into the warm water, add in the yeast and the sugar and mix them together. If you're using active dry yeast, let this sit for at least 10 minutes to let it activate. If you're using instant dry yeast, you can proceed right away. And then into a large bowl, add in the bread flour and the salt, and then just mix them together. And just add in the water and yeast mixture, and add in the olive oil. Then mix this together until a dough forms. And then just lightly flour the work surface. Place the dough onto the floured surface. And now you have to knead the dough. Here's the first tip. You want to knead the dough for at least 10 minutes. Kneading the dough develops the gluten and gives more elasticity to the dough. So here's a trick I learned in culinary school to really help develop the gluten. Just pick up the dough and slam it hard on the counter. So you just do that about 3 to 5 times, knead it for a few more minutes, you can slam it another 3 to 5 times, and then keep kneading it. And just keep going, and then I'll show you what it should look like once it's done. So after kneading for that time, the dough should be really nice and smooth and elastic. Now just grease the bowl that you had the dough in before. And then place your dough inside and turn it over to coat the dough in the oil. Cover it tightly in plastic wrap. And then here's the next tip. Let this dough rise for 18 to 24 hours. And over that time, it develops great flavor and texture. If you like, you can make this a couple days in advance. If you're doing 2 days or more, let it rise in the fridge. And then at least an hour before you're ready to start using it, take it out of the fridge so it can come back to room temperature. If you're just doing 24 hours, let it rise at room temperature. So since the dough has to be made a day before, it's good to make the sauce the day before too, because that also develops flavor. So here's all the ingredients that you're going to need. You'll need a can of whole peeled tomatoes, olive oil, butter, fresh minced garlic, dried oregano, salt, dried basil, onion powder, sugar, and a bit of freshly ground black pepper. There's no measurements for this, just add it to your liking. So start by adding the tomatoes into a bowl. Make sure you're scraping all the sauce into the bowl. And then you need to crush these up. You can use your hands to do that, or I like to use a potato masher. And then just put that to the side for now. And then into a medium saucepan, add in the olive oil and the butter. And then place this on the stove over medium heat and heat it until the butter is melted and the mixture is hot. Then once the mixture is hot, add in the minced garlic and cook it for about a minute until the garlic is soft. And then just add in the rest of the ingredients. Mix it until it's combined. Then heat the mixture until it comes to a simmer. Once it's simmering, turn the heat down to low and simmer it for another 45 minutes to an hour until it reduces and thickens, stirring it occasionally. Then after simmering, you can take it off the heat and then just leave it to cool for a little bit. Then after letting it cool, pour it into a jar or just any airtight container that you have. Close it up, and then just put this into the fridge until you're ready to use it. So it's the next day, and as you can see, the dough has risen nicely and it has a ton of air bubbles, and it will have a nice sour aroma to it, similar to sourdough. So now just remove the plastic wrap. Lightly flour the work surface. Place the dough onto the floured surface. Now you need to portion the dough. This makes enough for 2 16-inch pizzas or 3 10-inch pizzas. And I like to use a scale to make sure they're all the same size. And once you have the dough all portioned, you need to form them into a round. So pull the edges underneath, and that helps you get a smooth top. And then pinch the bottom closed. And do that for the rest of them. Add a little more flour to the work surface. Cover them in plastic wrap. And they need to rest for at least 15 minutes, and that lets the gluten relax and makes it easier to shape. So while your dough is resting, it's a good time to preheat your oven. And here's the biggest tip of all. Cook your pizza at a super hot temperature. Most pizza places cook their pizza between 700 and 1000 degrees, and it cooks in just 1 to 2 minutes. Most home ovens don't go any hotter than 500 or 550 degrees. So here's how we can cook it at an even higher temperature. So here I have a wood fire pizza oven that I bought online. It was only for $200, which isn't too bad for a gadget like this. If you bake pizza often, this is great to get. If not, don't bother with it. It's not essential. I'll also show you how to make it in a regular home oven if you don't have one of these and don't want to get it. Cooking it in a wood fire pizza oven results in a bit more flavor to your pizza. And this obviously has to be used outside because it forms a lot of smoke. So I'm going to take this outside and show you guys how to use it. So right now I'm outside and now I'm ready to start this thing up. So first I'm adding some wood pellets into the back. And then I'm using my blowtorch to light it up. And then this needs to heat up for about 15 to 20 minutes until it's very hot. And make sure that the flame inside is always going strong. So if you need to, add some more wood pellets and light it up again if you need to. The way I know the flame is going strong is if I can see the flame coming up out of the chimney. Now that the dough has rested, it's now time to start shaping it into the crust. So lightly flour the work surface. Take one of your portions of dough. And the next tip is do not use a rolling pin. If you use a rolling pin, it knocks out all the air bubbles in the dough, resulting in a more flat and possibly dense crust. So instead, to shape it, add a little flour to the top and press it down with your fingers. And then pick it up and then start stretching it. You want to do it gradually and gently so it doesn't break. And you want to make it as thin as possible. If it's not very thin, it might not cook all the way through. And you also want to make it a little bigger than you want it to be because the dough does retract. To get the dough in and out of the oven, here I have a pizza peel. So first you need to lightly dust it with semolina flour, or you can use cornmeal. And then place your dough on top of it. Then next, spread a thin layer of your sauce on top of it. And now for the cheese, use a block of mozzarella. Don't buy it pre-shredded, because the pre-shredded kind has cornstarch and or potato starch to keep it from clumping. So if you grate the cheese yourself, it's way better. And use whole milk mozzarella because it melts better. And then once you've grated your cheese, just sprinkle it on top of the pizza. And another tip is don't add too much toppings, because if you overload the pizza with toppings, it may come out soggy. So you just want a thin layer of sauce and a thin layer of cheese. And then you can also add any other toppings that you like. And then once you've formed the pizza, it's now time to bake it. And then you just take your pizza and slide it inside. You just have to shake the pizza peel to get it off. Then close it up. And let that cook for about 15 seconds. And then after 15 seconds, take it out and rotate it 90 degrees. Slide it back in. Close it up. Then another 15 seconds. Rotate it 90 degrees again. Cook it another 15 seconds. Then rotate it 90 degrees one last time. And then another 15 seconds, or until it's cooked to your liking. And there's your homemade pizza, made in a wood fire oven. And then after baking it, let it cool slightly. Cut it up into slices. And then it's ready to serve. And then just repeat that process with the rest of the dough. And my favorite pizza is pepperoni, so I'm adding that to the top of this one. And now I'm gonna take this outside and cook it. Then just slide the pizza into the oven and cook it in the same way. And there you have a homemade pepperoni pizza in a wood fire oven. Then if you're baking the pizza in a regular home oven, preheat the oven to 500 degrees or 550 if it can. And place a stone pan into the oven and let it get hot. For a more crispy crust, bake it on the lowest oven rack. Then just make the pizza as usual. Then slide it into the hot oven on top of the hot stone pan and bake it for about 8 to 10 minutes. And then once it's done, just remove it from the oven, let it cool slightly, and then serve. Don't worry if you don't have a wood fire oven, you can still make delicious pizza with just a regular home oven. So that's how to make the best homemade pizza and 10 of the best tips. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, give this video a like and check out my channel for many more videos, and subscribe to my channel for more to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.